This is CBJ News.
The headlines for this afternoon.
Police have arrested a 21-year-old man in connection with the shooting in Radford this week.
It's election day for local councils and also the referendum on changing the voting system.
And students will not be the only ones affected by the increase in tuition fees next year. Find out who else will be suffering the consequences of the rise. Welcome to CBJ News with me, Lilia Rusanova.
And me, Becky Sheeran. Our top story this evening. A 21-year-old man has been arrested and released on bail following a shooting in Radford. The victim was treated for injuries to his arms and legs at the Queen's Medical Centre after being shot in Dulwich Road on Sunday. A forensic examination is being carried out on a green Subaru that was thought to have been used in the shooting.
People in Nottinghamshire are concerned that the gun crime rates in the area is increasing significantly.
However, the chair of Nottinghamshire Police Authority, John Collins, is reassuring the community that the number of such crimes remains low, despite the recent shooting in Radford.
The latest available statistics have revealed that gun crime in Nottingham fell by 43% in the first 9 months of 2010. A recent Home Office report shows that the number of people being very worried about crime rates in the country has remained constant. High-profile incidents aren't helping.
There's been a lot of negative coverage in the media recently, and that's only going to have a negative impact on our hobby. It hasn't affected the way that I go around using the firearm on a weekly basis, but it obviously does highlight that you need to be extra vigilant with the thoughts that the public might have upon seeing someone in a field with a gun.
A 21-year-old man was shot this week here in Radford. This was the second gun-related incident reported to the police within a short period of time. People who own guns for farming or sport are concerned that these gun crimes can have a negative impact on their image. Trying to put people's mind at ease, the British Association for Shooting and Conservation stressed that lawfully owned firearms are seldom used for criminal purposes. A new Cumbria incident is quite unlikely. With the exception of air rifles, all guns are subject to police control. The owners need to obtain either a shotgun license or a firearms certificate before buying one. Those who want to own a gun must provide references. Medical records are also checked, and people who have been treated for mental illness may not be granted a license. Lilia Rusanova, CBJ News, Nottingham. Voting across the East Midlands is underway in a series of local elections as well as national referendum to decide on the way MPs are elected. Joe Stratton joined us from the CBJ newsroom. These are quite significant elections. Why is that?
In the East Midlands, voters in all 44 district and city councils will be electing councillors, and county councils will not be affected. There is also the AV referendum, which is to change the current voting system. Polls opened at 7 o'clock this morning and will be running until 10 o'clock this evening.
So what are the key polls to look out for in the East Midlands?
In Leicester, there will be the election of the city of the first London-style mayor. Leicester will become the largest city in the country to have an elected mayor to run the council. People living in Leicester South also have to vote for a new MP, as well as a city councillor and the AV referendum. People are also watching districts such as Gedling, Erewash and Broxtowe to whether Labour has revised its fortune or whether Tories remain popular.
Can you tell us a little bit about the UK-wide referendum?
Yep, this is the first UK referendum since 1975, and voters will be asked whether they want to keep the current first-past-the-post system for MPs or to switch to the alternate voting system. Votes will not be counted in the referendum until 4 o'clock tomorrow evening.
Thanks, Joe.
We apologise for that photo that came up before. That was a mistake. Police are asking for the public's help after a man absconded from a Derbyshire open prison. 32-year-old Gerard Laverty was jailed for 12 years in April 2006 on robbery charges. He failed to return to Sudbury Jail on Monday. A report carried out last September by Sudbury prison inspectors showed that the number of absconding offenders had significantly reduced.
Police investigating the murder of a man on a street in Derby are trying to trace two motorists. Sergei Waskowski was attacked on Cumming Street on the 24th of April by a group of 5 armed men. He later died from head injuries. 6 men have been arrested and bailed in connection with the attack. Officers now want to trace the driver of a silver Renault Clio and the driver of a black Ford Focus, who were thought to be in the area.
Students are not the only ones who will suffer the consequences of the rise in tuition fees next year. Studies show that university towns and cities who rely on student consumers will also be affected.
A report by the Center for Cities says student spending accounts for 10% of the economic activity of some cities, especially those that are university towns. However, those economies could take a hit by the decision to raise student tuition fees as high as £9,000 beginning next year.
We're not exactly sure how much, for example, Nottingham Trent's fees will be, and each university is pretty much allowed to charge what they want.
The research concludes that Nottingham is among the top 10 cities expected to suffer.
Predominantly when the students are away in summer and on big holidays like Easter and Christmas, then we do see a dip anyway. So if there's less students in town, then we're definitely going to see a big reduction, especially during the week.
A study shows that the main impact of a university on its city's economy is through students as consumers as well as potential employees. The Center for Cities warns that universities as well as the cities they're based in could face some very challenging times ahead and is urging businesses to plan for the potential decline in students due to the increased fees. Casey Clampett, CBJ News, Nottingham.
When Osama bin Laden was killed earlier this week, US officials said DNA and facial recognition proved his death. But the question is, what do people really think? Our reporters went out and asked the people of Nottingham for their thoughts on this controversial subject.
I probably do, but it doesn't really matter to me.
I'm not really sure if he's dead or not. They said he's dead, but they haven't released any photos or anything.
In a way, I do think he's dead, but in other ways I don't, because everyone on Facebook's like, oh, there's no photo proof.
Firefighters are investigating the cause of a house fire in Nottingham. 2 floors of the house on Myrtle Avenue in Forest Fields have been severely damaged. The fire started at about 11 o'clock last night. No one is said to have been injured.
The leader of a children's charity is trying to get a wonder drug available for sufferers of multiple sclerosis. Barbara White founded the charity called When You Wish Upon a Star. She has now called for more research into a medicine which is not yet available in England. She hopes to make it available for all people with MS.
Charity has granted wishes for thousands of children in North. It was set up by Miss White 21 years ago. At the time, he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. The disease has left her bedridden for weeks and even has affected her view. But a drug called low-dose naltrexone, known as LDN, has changed her life.
Since November, when I started taking the LDN, which is not licensed in England for MS, but it is in Scotland, and I'm finding that a lot of things I have no more pain, I have no more fatigue, and normally I can't sit out in the sun, but things are starting to get a bit better already.
LDN is only officially licensed to help people trying to give up drugs such as heroin. It means many primary care trusts will not fund the medicine and patients cannot buy it from regular pharmacy store. Ms. White is now calling for more research into the effect of LDN on MS sufferers.
I think it's important because I know there's quite a lot of people on it in Nottingham, and the problem with MS, you do get a lot of what they call neuropathic pain. It's all your nerves, and sometimes it can be very, very distressing, very uncomfortable, to the stage where some people even feel suicidal because the pain's that bad.
The found LDN was safe, but has not found any scientific effect on overall quality of life. The primary care trust in the city says it simply cannot fund LDN as it has not been licensed for treating MS. The expert says more research needs to be done to find out any other effect before it can be licensed by Healthy Care Authority. This is In the Pool, CBJ News, Nottingham.